Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all well. It's been a little while. Oh my god. My kids all brought home all this lint. This jumper's flinging lint everywhere. Sorry, I do apologise. I can't stop it unless I take it off. I might as well have it off, but it's the aesthetic. Anyway, the kids brought home DMV. We're going off track here. This is totally not about the kids, but the kids brought home DMV. Well, Jedi brought home DMV 1 week. The next week, I wasn't feeling well. The following week, Jai wasn't feeling well. But then Jai was sick off his top bunk. Imagine sick off the top bunk. It was literally just oh my God. It's been a long 2 weeks, or whatever it's been, since my last upload. So hello, I hope you're all well. I'm here for a reason though. I am here for a purpose. I want to share today with you. What day is it? How do I forget what day it is? I know what day it is. 17th. The 17th of July 2024. Exactly 1 year since my breast surgery. Oh God. That kind of like made me a bit like had a lump in my throat then. 1 whole year since the breast surgery. I thought I would come on and give you all like a 1 year update and everything that's happened in the 1 year and what's yet to happen. And yeah, people still ask me to this day. So make sure you've got a drink because we're going to go through it step by step. And now I'm in a more of a clear mental space. I think the last breast update I gave you guys, I was still either like, it was either just after my surgery, I was completely out of it on that video, or maybe like a little 6-week update and nothing since. So, anyone who is new here, my name's Aaliyah, I'm 27, I've got 2 kids, and I just had my 2nd breast surgery. Oh my God. So, I will go back and re-explain for anyone who didn't watch the first one, briefly. If you want more info, it is all on the video. But I've always been a little heavy-breasted. I say a little, I've always been heavy-breasted, but they didn't grow until like 15. So I had nothing until 15. Anyway, 15 comes and they go from being like a treble A. I don't know what they were, but even the smallest bra was too big for them. They went from being like a treble A to like a D. And then within 2 years, I'd just gone up to like a G. Or something like that. It was just hell. It was hell. You can imagine the growth. And I used to always say this, but now I'm like, was I not? I used to always say I was always naturally like slim. Now, I'll be honest, even when I carry weight, I feel like my frame is slim, hence the reason why I don't carry weight really well. Because you know, you see these like thick, voluptuous women and they're quite like wide with hips. That was not me. I was just like that with a pot belly. So yeah, I suppose I've always been quite slim. And when they went up to a H, they were like, I'd obviously never had children or anything, but they were on fire. And the only thing I could compare it to is when people used to talk about, you know, like grown-ups because I was a teenager, would say, oh, like your boobs hurt when you have a baby, your boobs hurt when you get milk, blah, blah, blah. So I used to be like, Mom, my boobs are hurting like that. And she'd be like, don't be so stupid. And I'd be like, no, it's really hurting me. Anyway, it got to a point where I swear to you, I couldn't cope with the idea of even turning. I used to be like, it was excruciating. I don't know how we've just jumped into this, but this was the reality. And I was 16 at the time. And she took me to the breast doctor, was it the breast doctor? She took me to, I think it was the breast doctor. I'm guessing it was the breast doctor. I was a 16. She took me to the breast doctor and the breast doctor was like, she hasn't grown boobs this whole time and now she's just growing them all at once. And I was like, sir, I grew mine last year and this is crazy. No, I don't know anyone who's ever had growing pains like this. So he sent me away. I'll tell a lie. When they started to hurt and I was telling her it resembled the milk, that's when she took me and he was like, nah, it's just growing pains. And then he sent me away and that's when I ended up being like crying, screaming. The idea of even putting a top over my chest was just, I'd just cry. I would just cry because it was just so painful. And now I've had kids, I know that the pain really was like, And I'm not diminishing anyone who's had a baby and they're like, oh, your milk's and it hurts a bit. No. I mean, someone with an oversupply who's breastfeeding and you've not fed off them or let them out down for 4 hours, kind of burning rocks like bricks on your chest, bricks. That was the pain, and I had that same pain. It wasn't obviously the same, but the resemblance of the pain was so similar when I had, especially my first baby. So anyway, she took me back. I was in this excruciating pain. He was like, right, we're just going to send her for like a CT scan or something. I went in that big machine. They sent me for 2 scans. I went in like the MRI washing machine one, I went in another one. And then they were like, right, we can see lumps in the breast. We won't be able to tell them what the lumps are until we take them out, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, fast forward. Fucking 6 weeks later or something, I'm having breast surgery. And at the time, I never valued my boobs. I never, like, I had a sister, and I'm not like slagging off my sister, but I feel like as a female, you have 2 aspects of your boobs. Your boobs either make who you are, or they just are an attachment to you. And mine was honestly an attachment to me. If anything, if I could have wished them away in a healthy way, I would have said, just don't give me any boobs. I never really cared to get boobs like that. But my sister was very much like, when she got her boobs, scoop neck and all that, that was not me, right? So I remember watching her being like, she was like, what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do? They're going to cut off your boobs. And I was like, I don't really care. Like, as long as, you know, in my opinion, you know, there's people who go for cancer treatment and they have to end up with nothing. And that's the worst case scenario, in my opinion. So it was fine. But I think that my mum and I didn't ask. Nah, you know what? I think we didn't ask enough questions, but I don't think they were willing to give a different result anyway. Because I had the surgery and I woke up on my belly, and it turns out they'd given me some suppository that my mum had signed for, hence the reason why I was on my belly, But I was on my belly, which is really odd because I just had breast surgery. And when I turned over, I had these like bandages everywhere, but I almost had like a 3rd boob, and I'm not joking. It was huge. It was like at least an E. It looked like someone had punched me through the thing and their fist was still there, or like the shell of their fist and all the outline. And I was like, Mum, what's this? And she was like, oh, you just swore. I was like, Mum, what is this? What is this? What is this on my chest? Like, I've got a 3rd boob now. Anyway, she called the doctor over, and I was like in agony, They did not prepare me for this at 16 or 17. I can't remember, 16 or 17. They did not prepare me. Anyway, the doctor came over and was like, oh, she's got a blood clot. That's what that is. That's the blood clotting, creating a big thing. So then they reopened my incisions, put me with drains, and I had to, instead of going home like the following day, I had to stay there for like 3 weeks with these drains, just pumping this thing out to make sure it didn't happen again, because apparently they did it for a day or a week or whatever, and then they stopped. Apparently it could then rebuild back up. So we did that. They never gave me an inch of aftercare. I just want to point this out. I didn't think anything of it, other than they had like these little, you know, like things that they cover sutures with. Like, it almost looks like tape that you can see through. Obviously it's not tape, but you know what I mean. They had that, and there was like, leave it on for a week. When you take it off, make sure you clean it every day, dry it. That's all they said. They didn't say anything after that. So I had that. And when they healed, I'll be honest, even when they healed, I had one like 2 cup sizes bigger than the other. And I just thought, what the fuck is this? Like, what the fuck? But at the time, I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, you know what? No one can really tell when you've got a bra on. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I was a kid, you know what I mean? I feel like there's such a higher beauty standard now for kids than there was for my age when I was a kid. But kids back in my day couldn't really tell if you had like a fucking boob 2 sizes bigger than the other, because they were all wearing push-up bras anyway. You know, I was always wearing those balconette bras. So I felt like it made my boobs sit down a little in my shirt rather than like push them up. So that was that. The boobs were a little odd, but I left it at that. Like, I didn't think about it. Fast forward, the boobs, we went, oh no, I'm not fast forwarding. So I told you I was a G. When I'd had my surgery, I came out and must have had like a B cup or something and a fucking E cup. Like I said, when I say there were 2 different sizes, one was like a B or a C, one an E. You know what I mean? But whatever. I was just thinking, they're smaller than they were. At least, you know, the lumps are out. We'll find out what the lumps were, and You know, I'm happy I don't have cancer. I'm just thinking that in my mind. Anyway, the lumps turned out to be tumours. Was it tumours? There was a name for them, but they were safely removed, so I was not at risk. So we skipped over that. I don't quite understand. You know what? I've always tried to go back and get them to explain exactly what they were, because you know at the time when they explained, you I was like, yeah. And I obviously didn't ask any questions because I was 16. As I got older and I started realising, wait, what was that? You know, like, what was it that? Was it not? And I've tried to go back, but it's so difficult because when I get it up in my medical record, it just says, what, it's like, it begins with B. Something tumour. And every time I ask like a GP, which obviously isn't the same GP, they're like, oh, don't worry about that. I'm like, yeah, but what was it? And they're like, oh, go back. Go back where? To that same person, 15 years. Anyway, they said I was fine after that. I had a scan after a year later or whatever. I was fine. And then my boobs began to grow and grow and grow and grow. And the only way I could keep them down, and I'm not suggesting anyone else do this, was to starve myself. And even starving myself, the smallest I could get them was, I think, an E. But oh my God, I was wearing a size 0. I was a 0. If I put an image, do you know what? I'm going to find an image. And this is one thing that I really want to share, because when I shared the boob journey with you all the first time, I was honest, but I wasn't completely honest. And when I say completely honest, I didn't lie, but I just didn't take all the skeletons out the closet. But now I know how many people it touched and reached and influenced. I want to share some of the things that I don't really feel like I would want to share if it didn't have an impact on other people. But because it does, I want to be transparent. So, and you might be like, why didn't you diet? No, I would literally hardly eat anything. I was a smoker back in the day. So I would just live off cigarettes. That's all I did, just smoke. I just smoked so much to avoid eating, which is crazy now I think about it. And I never used to drink water ever. So my body was just in starvation mode, and I will find a picture and I will insert it. I was a size 0. I remember I was wearing a 0 to a 2. That's crazy. I couldn't even find that size. And you know now, Primark do an XXS. Back in the day, you couldn't even get a 0 in the UK, hardly ever, unless you went Hollister or something. And I didn't have Hollister money. So I was broke. I was wearing kids' clothes as an adult because I couldn't fit in adult clothes because I was starving myself to keep my boobs down. And then it impacted my fertility because I'd been married for a little while. We wanted to have a baby. I couldn't conceive. And I remember going to a fertility doctor. I don't you know what? It's so, sometimes I feel like, you know, when you ask yourself, am I making this up? Because I don't quite remember where the woman was. You know, where the place, where was the location of the doctors? I don't know. I can't remember. I cannot remember for the life of me. But I remember her giving me a questionnaire saying what's important to you, and you're like, well, she didn't give it me, I tell a lie. When I got in there to reception, what was mad is, there was loads of older women than me, there was pregnant women, there was loads of women. And I just felt really out of place because I was about 23 years old and I'm like, what's happening? Why can I not have a baby kind of thing? And sometimes they now I'm saying out loud, I'm like, Lily, you were 23, that's crazy. But I've been married for 5 or 6 years and I'd intentionally not had a baby. And I'll be honest, I was one of those stupid people who thought that when I'm ready, I'll do it. And you know what I'm saying? I either thought I'd either be infertile or be fertile. I just didn't think that they would tell me that I'm fertile, but it's something else, you know what I mean? So I went there, and when I checked into the reception, they gave us a checklist. And it was not a checklist, it was fill your details are there, whatever. And then at the end, at the back, it was a list of 10 things, and you had to number them 1 to 10 and which was most important to you. And I think I'd put having a baby first. No, I think I'd put breastfeeding first, having a baby second. I don't know why, I was just obsessed with the idea of breastfeeding my kids. And then I can't remember what the other ones were. But anyway, went in there, spoke to the doctor. she did all my measurements and she was like, are you an athlete? And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't understand. I honestly thought she thought I looked like someone, I swear. I know this sounds, we're going off so much off topic, but so many people used to always say my brother looked like a footballer. I can't remember the footballer's name. Ashley, is it Ashley? I can't remember. So I thought she was doing that because I used to feel like as a black family, me and my siblings, we were I didn't feel we was a minority, so I used to feel like people used to use the token of resemblance of any other black person to us because they'd never seen another black person before, or mixed race person, however you want to present it. I would say I'm black, but whatever. Anyway, she goes, are you an athlete? So I'm thinking she thinks I'm like fucking Serena Williams or something. So I'm like, who? She's like, how many times do you work out? And I'm like, I don't. She's like, you don't work out at all? And I'm like, I hate work. The idea of working out makes me want to throw up. Like, you can't convince me. Don't get me wrong, I had worked out. You know when your friends put in a group chat, let's go to the gym, and you go and you're fucking the only one there who's like, you go there, you put on all the gear, but you're just sitting there waiting for everyone to finish. That was me. I just hated the idea of working out. I hated the idea of going for a walk with no end goal just for the sake of walking. It was crazy, like. So I mean, literally explained to her, no, I don't work out. I'm not who you think I am, kind of thing. And she goes, then I realised, she goes, if you do not work out, I am baffled, because your BMI and all your numbers are the numbers of someone who would be like a Olympic athlete. Like, if you're not working out, you're massively malnourished. Like, and I'm literally sitting there thinking, and it just hit me like, I never really thought like my boobs was an issue, you know what I mean? Like, I thought that, no, I did. I knew that I didn't like them, but I thought that starving myself, without realising I was starving myself, I thought that that would be just like an okay way of living, you know what I mean? Like, and when I say starving myself, and I connect the two, because this is the way I saw it. You know, like when your mum grew up, when you grew up and you saw your mum, like, maybe your mums are different, but my mum would always like make us three a meal and then just eat the leftovers. She would never make herself a meal. And I used to watch her and I used to think, come on girl, don't starve yourself. And I almost felt as though what I was doing to keep the smaller boob, the DE size, was just that. But actually I wasn't even doing that. I wasn't eating anything. So she was like, if you want to have a baby, you're going to have to increase your BMI like ASAP. And if you don't want any other health issues, you're going to have to work on that, because that is crazy. So I got home and I started crying. And I was like, and I remember putting on this bra that I finally managed to squeeze into, which was an E. And I was like, oh, and he was like, what? I was like, she's still going to gain weight. And it wasn't even about carrying the weight on my stomach. It was just the idea of knowing that these boobs are coming back. And even Far was like, oh, you've only just... You know what, actually, he enabled me a little bit. And I don't blame him, but now I'm like, ooh. Now I'm saying what he said to me out loud. I'm like, ooh. He said, oh, you... And I get why he said it, but he was like, oh, you've only just got to the size that you feel comfortable with. And I guess what he meant by that is you're finally comfortable with your chest, because you'd watched me be so uncomfortable this whole time. Not to mention, which I kind of have forgotten, up until this point, before I'd started starving myself, I'd started doing loads of things to hide my boobs. So, you know, like, when women are transitioning from male to female and they get the, what is it called? You know, the thing to wrap their breasts to make them look flat chested. I had that. I used to wear that all the time. No one ever knew. No one ever knew that I was wearing that. What, a binder? I used to wear a binder 24/7. And if it was something like more of a scoop neck, I could never really wear anything that was a strappy thing, because I could never hide what was holding them down. I used to then wear like 3-4 bras. So I'd wear like a normal bra and then like a thicker bra over it and then 2 sports bras. If I wanted to wear like, you know, something croppy, which would still, so I couldn't wear the binder because the binder was a little long on the torso. And then obviously I used to go out quite a lot to the clubs. So when you're going out, I mean, you don't have to, but when you are going out to the clubs, you wear things a little skimpier. Well, I did anyway. I will attach images to show you all what I mean by this. And again, I don't suggest it, but I want to be honest with you all. when I started going to the clubs, I used to think, for fuck's sake, I can hold these down every other aspect, but when I go out, and it was horrible because all my friends have no boobs, like nothing. So it just makes me look like that, you know what I mean? Like that sloppy one. Like, I felt sloppy. Not that anyone with big boobs looked sloppy, but I just felt sloppy. I felt they had these things just out of control, swinging around in me. I was in Home Bargains one day and I saw this like electrical tape. It wasn't called electrical tape, but it almost looked like it, but it was black. Sometimes you could get it in silver. It wasn't electrical tape, but it was like a little thicker. And it just looked strong, and something in my mind was like, and I was going out that night, something in my mind was like, just try it. And I started taping my breast. Like, I would cut around it a little bit. So if anything I wore was promiscuous, I mean, I wouldn't wear nipple covers, but you know, if anything I wore was promiscuous, like, you know, a deep V, you would never see the tape there. And I would just cut around it like a bit of like a flower. But again, I was not an artist here. So you can imagine, I just almost did that. And then I would take the tape there, hold it there, put the tape there, and then all around my back, all the way around my back. And then I would lift this one and I would fold it there. So it would almost just pull them to the side and they would be under my arms. And I honestly did that for about 4 years. And I'm going to attach images because now you look at these images, you'll see the gap on my chest is like the River Nine, or what do you call it? You know what I mean? Like it was big. But I'd rather that than carry these big breasts. Anyway, this is why I think Far was a little relieved when I'd found a way to be comfortable without harming myself. Although I was harming myself by not eating, it wasn't so visible. Because the tape, the only thing is when you dance in the club and all the rest of it, and you get like, you like your body just you got your moisturiser on your body, the tape, and you sweat. Like, I wasn't sweating, but you know, the sweat off your body. Every time I would wake up in the morning, it had taken a bit of my skin off. Anyway, I thought, I've got a smarter idea. Instead of letting it go all the way around, I will just have more layers of tape, so like 3 each breast, to really guarantee that grip. But I will just run it down the side to the back there. Fine, did that for quite a while too, but because I'm putting 3 pieces of tape on now, other than like 1 or 2 pieces, the last time I did that, it took off, I swear, about this much of my skin, because I'd gone home, I'd passed out, I woke up the next day, and then this tape was stuck so hard to me. So I said to Father, don't pull it off, let me just go in the shower and hopefully the soap would like ease it. And the soap had just lifted the tape back and you could just see my skin on my back. And I remember Far being like, you can't do this to yourself. And I'm like, I don't have another option. Like, this is my only option. So I guess him being like, oh, for fuck's sake, you've just found an option, was more like him thinking, now she's going to go back to taping, which was crazy because she's just cut up, like her back is open. Had like, you could see underneath my boobs where the tape had taken the skin off my boobs. It was actually quite, now I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, wow. But this is why I think the lack of eating was the thing that made most sense to me. I don't suggest anyone to do that because honestly, I was dizzy all the time, I was sick all the time, I was constantly suffering stomach issues. I was never well, ever. You know what I mean? But I was always partying, so people thought I was well. But I never felt like okay. You know what I mean? My head was always dizzy. Anyway, I told him I'm going to have to gain the weight. So I didn't like gain lots of weight, but I went from a 0 to maybe a 6. A 6 to an 8. And yeah, when I got to about an 8, that is when I conceived Jade. And oh my God, I never shared it, but with my pregnancy, I absolutely hated my body. Nothing to do with my bump, my boobs. They were so heavy, they were bigger than my bump. I had a pregnancy shoot and everyone always says, oh my God, your pictures are gorgeous. That was purely because if I didn't take a picture there and then, I would never get the opportunity to do it again. If I had a choice and you told me I could save that moment for later, it would have been later. But I knew that I'm never going to carry this child again. Doesn't matter how many of the children I have. So I just tried to enjoy the moment, but it was hell. It was absolute hell. Hell. So that's that. I had my baby. I wanted a reduction because when I had Jai, I went to a H and it was just hell. But I knew that I wanted another one, so I was like, you know what, let me just get this baby out. I had my second baby. And as soon as I had him, I knew in my mind, and actually, I'll tell a lie. The second I got pregnant with that second baby, it was almost like countdown. Do you know what I mean? Like in my mind, I wasn't saying it out loud, but I was almost like racing. The first day I remember going on Maya and being like, you know, like looking at all the Q&As, looking at everyone's results, filling out a questionnaire, telling them I'm like 1 day pregnant. I wasn't 1 day, you know, it's about a week, but you know, telling them I'm like a week pregnant. I was like, you should wait until at least this time and then we'll talk to you. So they told me to wait until at least 3 months postpartum or something before I could even discuss anything. And I just needed to know facts and figures. I'm thinking I got 9 months to save this money because once this baby's out, I'm doing it. And when I got to about 6 months pregnant, I lied and I called them back and I was like, I've just had my baby. He's 12 weeks. You know, like just who are they? I wasn't gonna do anything, so I'm not breaking the law here. And I went through everything with them. They gave me a price. They was like, this would be your next step. You need to tell us when you're ready. So I knew that I just need to delay them for as long as possible. I double checked the whole breastfeeding thing. They said, you know, if you're going to breastfeed, you can't do surgery until 6 months after stopping breastfeeding. So I knew that I might have to go on breastfeeding journeys shorter because I was due to return to work after a year of having him. So I might only be able to breastfeed for 6 months this time. All of it. Like, I just wanted to have the surgery before I went back to work. I did all that. I had my consultation, I had my surgery a year ago. You all saw the journey for that, and it's been a freaking year. So now we've got that part out of the way, the bit that I didn't really share too much of before, I want to go ahead and tell you what happened since then, this time last year, but also answer some more of your questions that I keep getting all the time. One being, how much did it cost? I did answer this in my original video. I'm going to round it up because I can't remember exactly what. It was 9 something, but I'll say 10k. It was 10k. It is so much more expensive to have a breast reduction and lift than it is to have implants. Everyone was like, just put implants in. And everyone, and not even because of the cost, but loads of people just can't understand why I wouldn't want to add to my, I didn't want to put something in. I didn't want it. I don't understand why it's so alienated that you don't want to have this thing on your chest. I don't mean this in any disrespect to anyone who's got a boob job. Anyone who's got a boob job, I know 9 times out of 10 of them love how they look. Beautiful. But I think when you have a boob job, it creates a certain aesthetic. I don't want that aesthetic for my body. I just wanted to look like a mom who's had a baby without looking like this freak show. Do you know what I mean? And when I say a freak show, that's what I was telling you about earlier. When I had my second baby and I tried to lose weight, my boobs weren't going anywhere, and I never thought I'd share this image, but I'm going to share it because the doorbell. Whew. I was going to let him throw it over, but I thought it was my new running shoes, so no, it wasn't. That was a waste of time. But where was we? I never thought I would share this image because I just hate the image, but this is exactly how my boobs looked before my surgery. And I feel like none of you really saw that because one, I was either like hiding them, binding them, or doing whatever else. And I also, I'm out of breath. Also, when I decided to have my surgery, right after my baby, I knew that I had a date, I'd booked it, I'd paid for it, and I knew I had about 6 months to get in the best shape possible before I tried to put because I just read so much online, so many people being like, hating my belly after, or like I gained weight, my boobs came back, so I just thought it's a lifestyle, try and lose as much weight as possible before you do something like this. So I'd lost a lot of weight, which meant that I'd lost a lot of breast fat, but still had quite big boobs anyway, or a lot of excess skin. This is exactly how my boobs looked before I began my weight loss right before my surgery. If I didn't have the date booked, I would have probably cut them off with a knife because I used to cry and say I was going to do that every single day. So I lost a lot of weight. It took my boobs down from the H to a G. Couldn't get them any smaller than that. And I remember, even though I had the date booked, right before my surgery, I'd laid down in bed and I remember like just looking, I don't know why, I just looked down and my boob had just like, the skin was all just sitting there. And I took a picture of this. I think I started taking pictures towards the end because I knew it was coming to an end. But I never really took pictures of my boobs or anything like that before, ever. You know when you're in your own nightmare and you can't imagine the nightmare ending, you don't record it, you know what I mean? And I know you can go on TikTok now and see people crying and sliding down the wall and stuff. That's just not my energy. If I'm miserable and I can't see an end to the misery, why would I want to tell you about that misery that I feel is going to end me? Because I can't end it. Do you understand? So I never really took pictures of my boobs or my body before I felt or saw or knew that I could physically do anything about it. So again, I took a picture of this skin because I thought, oh, this has been the last time I see you. And I'll put that here. That was me. That was me completely before I had my surgery. But anyway, post-op, I paid around 10 grand. It's much cheaper to have a reduction than an uplift. I would never think about implants. I don't want implants. I don't care if anyone else has implants. As long as you're happy with your body, great. I don't want implants. I want to try and stay as close to the way that God made me as possible. Because I know that if I change for what fits the aesthetic now, I won't like myself in 10 years' time. And I just don't want to do that. So that's why I didn't choose implants. I chose a method. I can't remember the exact method. It begins with M, meticulone or something. Where they, two methods. They either cut around your areola and completely take the areola and the nipple off. Do your breast surgery and then have to reattach the nipple. But there's no guarantee of sensitivity or breastfeeding there because obviously they're disconnecting the nipple and the areola from the milk duct. And the alternative option is cutting around the nipple but leaving it like almost flipped over and attached with the milk duct while you're operating the rest of the breast and reattaching. That way then you've almost got absolute guarantee of breastfeeding. You've got guarantee of breastfeeding and sensitivity because they never disconnected those pipes kind of thing. The biggest one that people go for is the removal of the nipple because there is a chance you could lose your nipple doing it the second way because if there's not enough blood flowing to the nipple while you're operating on the rest of the breast, it could cause the nipple to die off while it's attached to you. So there is a chance of that, but the chance is really small. So I went with that smaller chance just because I don't want any more kids. I don't intend to have any more kids. I'll be honest, I don't think I would breastfeed any more kids, but I also know that I'm a mom. I get really bad mom guilt and I'd probably just breastfeed them, but I don't intend to have any more kids. I really feel done with kids. But one of the biggest things that I do want to say is I'd started losing weight before my surgery and I actually thought, I like my body. I love my body the way it is, bar these boobs. And then I woke up. You know what it is? I think I dreamt of this moment for too long. I think there is such a thing of, can you want something for too long? And I completely think yes, because I woke up and the first thing I thought was, I've just spent 10 grand, like 10 bags. And lots of people always say to me, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the money. I don't want to support people doing this. I don't want to encourage anyone to get into any kind of financial difficulty. I just want to tell people this because I know that lots of people don't know that it's an option. But there is an option to do a finance. You can actually do finance. That to me is incredible that they even offer that. But you have to do the finance before the surgery. So I suppose anyone who's wanting it could start doing that now. And I think if I'd done finance, I would have felt a bit better. But because I've just literally pressed send from my bank account to their bank account, whacked 10 racks over, as soon as I woke up, I was like, oh, in pain. I've just spent 10 bags. Do I regret it? I don't know. And because I didn't know, it was almost hurting me. I was like, I was thinking, could I have just put up with this? I could have just taped them. I could have just wore 2 bras. Could have just. And then the more, my belly was kind of really swollen after surgery. It was so swollen, it was so painful. Nobody talks about the pain of post-surgery stomach pain. Oh my God, that was hell. For anyone going through that, please take, what did I take that helped it the most? I took that. I took a lot of ACV, apple cider vinegar, and after about 6 weeks, it subsided. But when I finally got everything off and all the bandages off, but about 12 weeks anyway, I started to see like, okay. And bearing in mind, when you first have your boobs done, they're still pretty swollen, so they still look a little thick, a little plumped, a little heavy. Because when I woke up, I was like, I don't think they're small enough. I don't think they're small enough. I was like this to the surgeon. I don't think they're small enough. They're not small enough. They're not. I was traumatized. I was like, they're massive. I felt as though I still had these big double D's on my chest. And he was like, they're swollen, they'll go down. And the more that they went down, the more I saw my stomach. And I was like, fuck. I thought I'd lost a lot of weight, but one thing that people don't say is when you have a breast reduction, the first thing you will see is your stomach, because you never had the chance to see it before because of the boobs. And lots of people who have implants say that they look like they had abs after. I don't suggest having implants to feel like you've got abs, because at the end of the day, your belly looks the exact same as it did with or without the boobs. It just creates an illusion, right? So I was like, for fuck's sake. So since then, I've been on a humongous health kick, like humongous. Like you just heard me, I thought that was my new running shoes. I'm a runner. I'm not a runner. I'm trying to be a runner. Have you seen the running clubs? I'm trying to, even without running, I try and walk quite a lot. I try and work out quite a lot. And I will say, when I first had my surgery, I remember having all these dreams before my surgery, like, when I have my surgery, I'm going to wear this kind of things. And I suppose the items that you wear is the first bit of gratification that you get, but it's almost immediately slide tackled with the fact that, yes, my boobs now fit into this boob tube, but look at my belly poking through. So it kind of like, it's like a tug of war. So I thought, you know what? Let me just stick with this. Again, it's a lifestyle change. And again, I want to get my body to a nice weight where I don't have to worry about my boobs now getting bigger again because I'm not managing my diet correctly. So I started working out quite a lot. I don't know, I was like, I'm going to get abs. I want to get abs, man. Like, I'm almost 30. I've never had abs. I'd never really thought I would want abs, but I'm going to get to an age where I won't really be able to have abs. Well, I could, but I don't want to live that kind of lifestyle. So let me get abs before I can't. Basically, that's what I thought. And I've been working out so much and doing so many steps, and honestly it's changed my life, because these immediate pieces of gratification that I thought I would feel when I had my surgery, I didn't feel. And I remember thinking, when will I feel the benefit of what I just did? And then I realised I'm feeling the benefit. I can do this entire mat workout. And I remember, I've not worked out, I told you all, I don't like working out. So I used to be like, follow me, you're so unfit, da, da, da. We both worked out together, bear in mind, I've not worked out in years. And I absolutely devoured it. And it's not only after a few weeks and months I realised, actually, it's because it's easier for me to be down on there doing a downward dog and all the rest of it. Before, my boobs were in my mouth, like they were just chaos. No matter how many sports bras I wore, nothing would hold them things down. And then I started to see more of the other changes, like, wait, I'm wearing things with the ease of not having to worry about it. And I don't think I was like an incredibly sweaty person before, but I said to Far, I wouldn't do this, but I said to Far, I feel as though I could go 2 days without showering. Like, and I don't even feel like I feel like I smell like I just got out the shower every time. And maybe it's because I used to put my boobs under there. I used to always feel a bit like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the word? Frosky. I used to feel a bit, I don't know, I used to just feel a bit, after 2 hours me of being out of the shower, I used to want to get back in the shower all the time. But again, I think it was the boob, the excess fat, just causing me to feel a bit like, you know what I mean? Oh my God, the way that's made me feel is incredible. But the only downfall is, when I finally got to grips with everything and I got with my fitness and I enjoyed seeing and reaping the perks of this surgery that I had, I remember saying to Far, I feel like a 14, I feel like someone just gave me my teenage tits again, like when I first started growing them, the first couple of months. And I almost went back to that stage, and this is kind of off topic, but I went through so much trauma as a kid, so I feel like in that stage, when I was a kid, I didn't really get to be a kid because I was struggling with trauma. So I almost felt as though like I was back in that body and I was actually able to just live freely. And I don't know, man. I don't know if that's changed me as a person. I don't know if that's changed what's important to me as a person. It's changed my direction as a person. But I will say, me and Far are so different. Like, we're so different. We've always been really different, but I'm even, I've always been like the giddy hamster that he's got in his cage, because he's very like, ah. But since my surgery, I almost feel like, I've been re-given a life again. Do you know what I mean? And I know this sounds crazy, because realistically, if I maintain everything, I should be able to keep my boobs and my body the way that they are right now. But I almost feel like there's an end date, an expiration date. So I want to do everything now. And I think that's like a lot for Far, because I'm like, I'll open up the laptop. I'm like, I've just booked just to go here, and it's like, Aaliyah, again, like we just travelled. And I'm like, I want to travel. It's not just about the cute bikini pics. It's like, I never used to. I did enjoy travelling, but like what I thought I enjoyed about travelling before was going to my 5-star all-inclusive resort, laying down and drinking a beer. I never used to get in the pool, because I used to fix my boobs so hard into whatever swimsuit I was wearing. I couldn't move any more than that. I couldn't chance the water swishing them around, so I had to stay steady. And now I'm like, no, I want to go on holiday. I want to jump in here. I can't even swim. I want to go to this. I want to take my kids here. I want to go here. We walked, where did we walk? Wadi Shab. I would have never have done that before my kids, because my boobs would have killed me, man. And I had a baby to carry at the same time. We took our babies to Wadi Shab. That's the most definitely experience. I didn't know how dangerous it was. And I keep saying to him, I just want to go, and it's like, he's in a part of life now where he's happy to have one holiday a year and just be steady. But I feel like, again, this giddy hamster on this wheel, where I'm like, nah, I've just been given this like new lease of life and I want to use it. And that's the only downfall. Feeling like I'm being too much for him, or he's not being enough for me, and I'm not willing to dial it down, and he's not really willing to amp it up, and I don't expect that of him, and he doesn't expect it of me, but it's kind of causing, I wouldn't say separation, but more independence, which is a positive thing, I think. I think in the long run it's a positive thing, because I'm quite an independent person anyway. But if he says now, like, no, now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, there's an example. We've already travelled 3 times this year, and I've been begging him to travel again, and he's like, no, I don't want to take any more time from work, and I'm just like, boring. Like, I just feel like that. I know that sounds so, like, immature of me. And maybe it is a bit immature of me, but I am just, like, boring. I have these 2 kids that I just want to live my best life with. And now I can do that. I can literally run around with them on that beach for 3 days straight. And I'm doing that, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to, but, and I get it. He's just not that guy. But I am. And this is the example. I really want to go out of my comfort zone. And although I've never been back to the same place, I've always been within this, similar proximities. I've been Egypt twice, but different places in Egypt. I've been Canary Islands, but all the different places in the Canary Islands. Never been back to the same island. That's what I mean by travelling different places. But I want to go further out. I want to, live a little, I say dangerously. I don't mean dangerously, but, like, let's not. And he's not having a dime of it. And I've literally been saying to him, please, I really want to go for my birthday. And now I'm sitting here. It's actually making me a bit emotional. Now I'm sitting here, and I've been saying forever anyway, because I take my kids on a mom holiday every single year. And I've already taken them. And I do feel like if I just take them all the time, I'm basically just taking them without him. And it's not really fair. So I don't want to do that. And now I'm sitting here and it's like, wait, actually, maybe this is all happening for a reason, because I've been telling him I really want to go Asia. And he's like, LA is quite far, and like the kids, and like what we're gonna do. And he doesn't. I don't want to stay in a hotel. I want to hire my own villa and just live. I like to go on holiday like I'm living there. I don't like to just wait for, I don't know, Esteban, the waiter, to bring me my same beer that I've been drinking since Wednesday. Like that to me is not fun. I want to live fun. I want to be fun. And he's been like, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, he said he'll come, but he doesn't really want to come. He doesn't want to come, I'll be honest. He said he'll take the time, but he's like, yeah, it's going to be a lot of money, you know. I don't want to be catty, but I kind of like just yawn. I know it's a lot of money, but like, I don't expect you to pay for all of it. I don't, you know what I mean? But I get it, because he's probably just getting older and thinking, calm the fuck down. And I'm like, you know what I mean? But now I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe what's best is, I really want to go. I'd love to take my kids, but I don't want to take my kids without my husband again. He doesn't really want to go. He doesn't want to spend the money. Maybe, but he's already taken the time off work. Maybe I just treat myself and I take my first solo trip, because I've always wanted to travel solo. Always. And I never thought being a mum would allow me to, but maybe now's the time. Maybe I just book the trip for me. You know what? Fuck it. I should book that trip for me. Because one thing about having these boobs is I am a different person. It's opened me up to likes and dislikes that I just would have never considered before. And I want to be the best version of me for my kids. Do you know what I mean? It's different, man. My husband's travelled everywhere. He's travelled so many places without me before we even met. So, I don't know what it is. But he's not that excited to go. And, you know, that's one thing I've realised. When we went to Oman, we're going off topic now, but when we went to Oman, I really wanted to go to Oman. He wasn't that keen. Like, you're talking, I was up every single night on the laptop looking, because it was like me booking everything, these connecting flights that weren't connecting, so we just had to run through the airport kind of thing. But I booked Oman and it was just, it wasn't it. You know what I mean? It was great. I had so much fun with my kids. But you know when you're there with someone who doesn't really want to be there, you want to just clap them, you know what I mean? Like, he was having fun, but he weren't having fun like he wanted. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was like, oh yeah, what a great time. Do you know what I mean? Other than being like, sick, so that's the place that I saw on the internet. He wasn't having that energy. And I'll be honest, I struggle when someone doesn't have that kind of energy with me, because you just, I feel as though you're taking it from me. Do you know what I mean? And it's not, if you went with a group of girls, it's so different, because some of you care, some of you don't. But when you're going with your partner and you've worked so hard to plan this trip and you both paid for it, and you've got one who's just like, yeah, cool, whatever. And you got the other one that's like, I think that's worse to do that than to go alone. So maybe I'll go alone. Maybe I might go alone. Is that my 1 year present to myself? My push present for going through the surgery? Am I going to go to Asia by myself? Shit. Do I book it? I think that might be the best option, you know, because he's never been with the kids by himself, ever. Like, ever. You know what? Maybe. This is a great idea. He keeps telling me he wants to start a dad trip because I do the mum trip, and he hasn't. And maybe he doesn't want to spend that much money. Maybe he can take them to somewhere that he's comfortable with in Spain, and he can do a dad trip, and I'll go to Asia. I think that's a pretty good idea. Then the kids don't miss out. He gets to feel some independence. And, you know, that's one thing I've realised about having my breast done. You're never too old to start living, man. I honestly feel this way. You're never too old to start living. But again, people have different perspectives, don't they, of living? I don't know. I'll keep you posted on that. I'll keep you posted. I'll probably book something for us tonight. But me in Asia by myself, in a villa, is that safe? Is that safe? Have any of you ever just gone? Do you know what it is? It's not the idea of solo travelling. It's me being in a villa by myself. But I don't want to go to a hotel. I can't be arsed being surrounded by people who are just like, you know what I mean? I just want to like roam the streets. I just want to, you know what I mean? I hate when you go to like these all-inclusive resorts. Anyway, you see the same person for 6 days or however long you're there. That's just not my energy. Far loves it. It'll be like, oh, there's Michael from Birmingham. respectfully, I couldn't give a shit about Michael. I want to go outside. I always tell, this is, do you know what, actually, this is not new. Every time me and Far travel, he wants to stay in the resort. I will never travel to a country and not leave the resort, because that's madness. Oh, my voice broke. That is madness. You might as well have gone to Butlins. You've never even seen the city or country you went to. You've just seen within the resort, which is just not facts. So I suppose we've always been different in that aspect. But now I've had my boobs done, it's really like emphasised. But that's changed. In regards to the boobs, I will give you an update in just a sec. I'll put a bikini top on just so I can show you my scars. But in regards to the healing process, oh my God. One, it's a lot. Two, your scars, they told me anyway, but I just want to put it out there. They're bigger than having implants. Because implants, they can wedge the implant in the little thing. Now they had to take this huge boob and remove it, right? And if they don't go far enough back, you'll be left with something called dog's ear, which is like a bunch of fat at the side. So my scars go quite far back. And I'll be honest, I do think it's maybe my fault a little bit. I feel like I took real good care of the scars here and not really well here. You know, because it's kind of hidden. I'm excusing myself now, aren't I? So I'll be honest, on this side, right now I can move freely, no problem. But sometimes if I'm holding my baby, who's almost 2, if he pulls my skin a bit, I'm like, ooh, be careful, because I feel like he might rip it open. Do you know what I mean? So it is a tad, maybe 3% tender. I never feel it unless he's like pulling on my skin or something, but I don't think that should be like that. I spoke to my surgeon about that, and I've got like, is it lymph? There's a scarring that kind of like bumps over. That's what's happened there. In regards to my areolas, because I obviously won't or can't show you that, you almost can't even tell that they've been removed. You can't even tell they've been cut around. Maybe because I'm black and I've got darker areolas, you can't really tell at all. And funnily enough, I remember saying to the surgeon, can you not remove any of my nipple? I want the most natural nipples. Now think about it. My nipples would have been the size of my boob at this point. So yeah, my areolas, fine. The scarring there, fine. I'll try and show you as much as I can under in just a sec. But I am going for a second surgery. I did mention this on my previous YouTube, but I want to mention it again on the 1 year update. The surgeon did tell me, because of the different growths in my breast constantly, I told you the rhythm going up and down, he said I had quite a lot of elasticity in my skin. I'm guessing that was from obviously the removal of the other one and going back so fast and all the rest of it. So he did tell me that there's a chance that they may drop lower than I am comfortable with. And I, in my mind, I'm thinking, no matter how low they drop, I won't be doing this again. But he convinced me when I went back, because I don't have an issue with my boobs or how they look. But he said to me, you might like them now, but in 5 years' time, you might not like them because they might just keep dropping. And then I thought about it and I was like, wait, 10 racks. And imagine if yeah, I'm great now, but what about in 5 years' time? So he's right. And I don't have to run the risk of losing my nipple, because we don't have to touch the nipple this time. It really is just going back here, and they kind of just do that and then re-sew again. So I'm going to do that. I had to wait a year from my appointment to do that. So I did that appointment in November. So I can't have surgery any earlier than November, but November's not a great time because I tend to travel in December. So, and you can't travel before you've have your surgery as well. I think it's about 4 weeks before. So that just won't be an option, I don't think. So I don't know when the surgery is going to be for that. That will be free, because that's included in the cost of having my surgery. I want to mention, because so many people say, please tell me how, where, when. You can be on the NHS list. I am still on the NHS list. Would you believe, after my original surgery and then they go back and all the rest of it, they put me on the list to have a breast reduction from the NHS, and it felt as though, and it feels as though, they wanted me to go into the doctors every single day and tell them I'm going to try and end my life, for them to give me any kind of attention or surgery or anything. And I'm not willing to do that, because I know some people will do that to get what they want, but in my opinion, when you put yourself in that mindset, you're going to be in that mindset without even realising, and I just wasn't willing to. So I'm still technically on the list. Have they called me? It's been 10 years. No, they've never called me. Probably been 11 years now. So yes, you can go on the NHS. Good luck, is what I'll say. And also, I feel like it was a blessing in disguise, because although they weren't originally giving me breast reductive surgery, they technically gave me a reduction 10 years ago, and it was shocking. You know what I mean? I had two, one size, one the other, and that's not saying them surgeons aren't skilled enough, but I suppose when it's free, you don't, you know, your job is just to help them medically, not physically, isn't it? So I think it maybe was a blessing in disguise that I didn't end up with the NHS. But you can go with the NHS. You can pay monthly if you want to, or you can just pay it outright. I had planned for this, so soon, like I said to you, as soon as I got pregnant, I just started whacking away my money. So I had 10 grand separate to anything that I knew I had for my boobs, period. What else was I going to say? My surgeon. I'm not revealing my surgeon purely because I'm not finished, and I don't want to reveal someone or something until I have my own result. And I suppose I'm a content creator. I don't want to put in quotation marks. I was going to say influencer, but I'm a content creator. I could have done this for free. The reason why I didn't do this for free is because I wanted anonymity of who I am and my pictures and all the rest of it. What I'm sharing with you now is completely off my own back, not because I'm being paid to. So I want to utilise that. I didn't want to pay for 10 grand for it and then just give you my whole life story anyway, because why would I pay 10 grand otherwise? I will share what I can when I can, but I did go with Maya. There's so many surgeons on there. I'm sure you will find one that fits you. But as it stands, we are 1 year post-op, and I swear, I wish anyone who is waiting and praying for the surgery for it to come a day sooner, because honestly, it's changed my life. Now I'm like, am I going to Asia? That's on my mind. But yeah, that's my 1 year update. It's not my 1 year update. I need to show you my scars. Let me go get my bikini on. Okay, so this is my chest to date. I'm a D, a 32D. I'm going to show you the scarring that I can. Bikini, you can see some of my scar here, but it kind of just falls into the fold of my boob, so you kind of don't really notice it. The side, this is how far it goes across. And again, that's under. In my opinion, you can't really see it. I know you can see it, but I feel like you need to know what you're looking for to see it, because I go on holiday all the time and people look at me and I know that they're looking at me thinking, that's just who she is. They don't look and think, oh my God, she's had a chest surgery. So that's my scarring. It's not painful other than that small part there at the back. Having the second surgery though apparently will help my scarring, because the surgeon's going to cut away the scarring that's lumped over and try and refinesse it. I will tell you, when I have that second surgery, I will not lift a dime for at least a month, because I do feel like picking up my kids pulled on it a little bit. So yeah, that is my 1 year post-op update. I'll let you know if I end up going to Asia, if I book Asia. But I hope that answered everything and gave you a full insight on what to expect, what to look forward to, what to prepare yourself for, and life after surgery, because I'm telling you, it's the best thing I ever did. But that's it from me. I will see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and do subscribe, because I'm trying to get to 10k, okay?